Hello, so in this video we're going to learn how to decrease our stitches when we're making the amigurumi toys. We're trying to get a ball out of this. So again, I'll make my chain it will help me to know where my round starts, and then I'm going to stitch 2 stitches together. So I go in twice into 2 different stitches and I release them once. Again, I go into 1 stitch. I won't yarn over or release any of the stitches yet. I go into the second one and I yarn over at once. The next thing again, I go into this one, go into this, and I yarn over. Now, this is just how to reduce our stitches, but in this case, we had 18 stitches on this round. So I'm going to lose this, and then we're going to see how we will reduce the 18 and get 12 from it. So the first thing is, our aim now is to reduce the 18 to make it 12. So the first thing, make your chain as you always, just to let us know where the round starts from. If we remember, at the beginning of the round, we had 1 stitch first on 1 stitch, and then we had 2 stitches on the second stitch. So this time we'll do the 1 stitch again. The 2 stitches that we had, we're going to collapse it now into 1 stitch. So I go 1, 2, and make it 1 stitch. The next thing again, I do my 1 stitch, and then I'm going to collapse the next 2 stitches into 1, 1, 2. So I have 3 loops here, and then I release the 3 at once. The next one, I'll retain my stitch, and then the next 2 will be collapsed into 1 stitch. So I have it. The next one, I will do the normal stitch of 1, but the next 2 will be collapsed into 1 stitch. So I go in twice into 2 different stitches, and I release the 2 at the same time. I make my stitch now, 1 stitch, then I'm going to collapse the next 2. That's 1, 2, and then yarn over and release the 2 at the same time. So the next one will just be a single crochet stitch, and then the next 2 will be collapsed into 1 stitch again. So at this point, I've come to the end of this round. If I count the stitches, there are going to be 12 of them. So I go, remember we're counting the V's, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I have 12 stitches made on this round. Then I'm going to close this one up as always. Close it up with a slip stitch. Make my chain again, and then I'm going to be collapsing 12 into 6 stitches. So it means that's 1, 2, and then I release it again, 1, 2, and I release it. That makes 2 stitches for this round, made from 4 stitches. I do another 2 and collapse it. I've just done 3 stitches from 6 stitches. I do another 2 collapse it. Now I have 4 made. I do another 2 and collapse it. I have 5 made. I do another 2 and collapse it. Now I have my 6 stitches made. I've come to the beginning of my round again, so I'm going to close it up. I have 6 stitches on that round. I'm going to close it up with a slip stitch, and I do my chain as always, but at this point I want to stuff it so that it won't be too tight when I want to, if I go another round, I'm going to collapse the 6 stitches into 3. So, and it will be too tiny for me to put in my stuffings or the fillings. So I'm going to get my fillings now and put it into the, stuff it into my work, because I'm trying to make a ball out of this. It could also be taken as an edge shape. It depends on what we're making. And then this could be the neck, the part where we will insert the neck, but this time I want to make a small ball. So I'm going to keep stuffing my ball. Like I always say, crocheting is very therapeutic. It helps the fingers. It also helps our mental health, because you have to count most of the time. You have to concentrate as well. Now, what I should have done, which I'm just doing at the moment, is to bring in this yarn, the smaller yarn, so that I should have actually done that before stuffing in the putting in the stuffings, really, because it's supposed to be inside the ball, not outside. In some cases, I think I should just remove the stuffings and then do that again. So now I brought in the smaller yarn. I could weave it in so that it doesn't lose out. So I'm just going to weave it into my work, and I'm going to keep it there inside the ball or the oval shape that I just made. Now, so I've been able to weave that into it, so I'm going to just keep it there inside the ball, the shape, and I'm going to now put in my stuffings, the ones I removed before, so they're going back. It's always good to tidy this up before you put in your fillings or the stuffings, the toy stuffings. So that it is kept in shape and it's tidied up. Now we're here. You can't see the yarn anymore because I pulled it in. And I want to close this up. So like we know, our last round we had 6. I'm going to collapse that 6 now into 3. So again, I go into each one, the first 2, 1, 2, and I collapse it into 1. I go to the next one, I have 3 yarns here. After going into the next 2 stitches, then I collapse them into one. I go into the next one and go into the second one to it. Now I have my 3 loops on the hook, and I release the 3 at the same time. So at this point I have 3 stitches. I've come to the beginning of my round again. As always, I have to close the round up. So I'm going to close up the round with my slip stitch. As always, I'm going to make my chain, and I could now sew up, or rather stitch into the end of this ball, because I have only 3 stitches left. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stitch into it and release it. Then I stitch into the other side again, and bring it in, slip stitch into it. I mean, it's up to individuals, however you want to tidy up the last 3 stitches. So for me, I just stitch into it. I'm going to make my, I'll normally secure the end of my work with a chain, and there we have. I just need to get a pair of scissors now. So here we are now. I'm going to cut off the yarn and pull this off. So we have our small little ball. Now you can tidy up the end, this end, by weaving in this again, the yarn, so that it doesn't look untidy, and so it doesn't lose out itself by itself. So I'm going to weave it into my work. That's what I'm doing. I'm weaving it into my work. Most times this is just a ball. Most times when we're doing the amigurumis, we don't close the end, especially if you're making a teddy. You won't close the tip of it because you need to insert the neck into the head and then sew it up. So what I'm just doing now is just to tidy up the yarn that was there. So I'm just going to make sure it goes in at this time, because I've already woven it into the other stitches. I'm just trying to tidy it up by putting it inside. I could actually cut it off here and push it in the best I can. So I've tidied up that now, and here we have our small little ball made from increase of the stitches and eventually the decrease of the stitches. So that brings us to the end of the increase of stitches and the decrease of stitches to start our amigurumi project. Amigurumis are soft toys in crocheting. Thank you. See you next time. Bye. That's it.